Well, hello. Welcome to Fiddle Club. Is anybody here? If you're here and online, just write in a little note in the chat. Tell me who you are, where you're from, approximately, so I know who I'm talking to today. I see a few people are here. I'm Elke Baker, and this is the May Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club Workshop. And how is the sound? I always want to know. And how is the visuals? Is everything coming through? I have a special workshop today that I think is going to be great fun. And here's what I have for you. Oh, okay. Yes. So it sounds like the sound is okay. I had one of those things, you know how like you're planning to go somewhere and you suddenly realize you left something very important behind. So I got all prepared. I got the mic set up, the lights set up, everything else set up, a glass of water nearby, music stand, all the music, everything. Then I opened my violin case and all the strings have sproinged out. So I have tuned, but I am expecting to have to tune a fair amount today just because it was not well put together earlier. So I am checking tuning. So here's my A. Okay, so I think we're pretty good for now, and here is your A. Our theme today on this Mother's Day May workshop is what I'm calling tasty tunes. These are tunes named after items of food. And, I searched for all kinds of healthy foods, carrots, vegetables, lettuce. The Scottish musical food palette, I have to say, is more directed towards things like bannocks and sausages of different kinds and fish. So it's not going to cover everybody's food tastes, but I'm hoping it covers your musical tastes pretty well. And I'm just going to point out before I get really deep into this that there have been a whole lot of food-related tunes in Fiddle Club before. We've had, last year we had hot mutton pies. We've had pudding pies before that. We had the soup dragon recently. We've had the kale pot and finnan haddie, which is a fish dish, cheap mutton, scarce of tatties, hot punch, barley cakes, bannocks of bear meal, juice of barley, and quite a few others. I'm not going to name them all, but you can look back in Fiddle Club and find a whole bunch of these tunes. But I thought I might start off by teaching you a tune from the Shetland tradition, and this one is called Kale and Knocket Corn. Now let me explain a little bit about the meaning behind it, and I have a visual aid. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so if I was smart, this will be right here. Let's see. Oh, okay. My visual aid isn't all that exciting after all. I thought I had a picture of the dish, but this is a picture of the recipe for kale and knocket corn. It's a Shetland thing. And kale is cabbage. And this knocket corn is actually, it's like the equivalent of pearl barley. Corn is in Scotland typically referring to barley, not what Americans would call corn, as in corn on the cob. So it's pearl barley in the husk. It's been soaked so that the husk is a little bit softened, and then they bash it, you know, obviously not one at a time, all together, and that knocks the husks loose, and then they float the husks off. So you essentially have pearl barley. You know, it's been knocked, right? Knock it, and then you cook it up, and you cook it up with the kale or cabbage, and you have this excellent dish. They often season it, and sometimes it has sausage in it or some other savory flavor, and that is kale and knocket corn. So here's how the tune goes. Let me play it for you. I'm going to check my tuning once again. Let's just make sure we're on track after the way the violin's been behaving today. So that's kind of in tune with itself, but everything's a little flat. So let me just make sure we're okay. That A is directly on. And now I'll tune everything else up, and we'll get ready. All right, so here is kale and knocket corn. That's kale and knocket corn. It is a version of a tune that's better known in Scotland under a different name, Bob of Fettercairn. We had a more Scottish version of the Bob of Fettercairn way back in book 13. So that's quite a while ago, 15 years ago. And it doesn't hurt to have this Shetland version because it's different enough to be quite a lot of fun. Plus, it has the cool name of kale and knocket corn. I like that better than Bob. Just a personal preference. All right, so we're in the key of G, but you may have noticed when I played the tune, it kind of sits in two keys. Bits of it feel like they're in the key of G, and bits of it feel like they're in the key of A. So it's what some people would term a double tonic. You know, that there are two home keys that dominate the tune. All right, so first of all, let's just get comfortable in the key of G. Let's play a nice G scale, and we're going to be going from very low to very high. Let's go ahead and start down here. To work on the G arpeggio because that's quite important here too. So let's start on this G note. The G arpeggio is G, B, and D. Let's go up. Let's get real comfortable with this. We're going to use this a lot. Some variants. We're still using the same notes, different order. let's go to the low G. Also, same notes, new order. For people playing fiddle, that one is a little trickier because it requires you to put a finger on 2 strings at once to get that D note and that G note. So the third finger is bridging the 2 strings at the same time. If you're playing another instrument, it's probably not as tricky, but it would depend on your instrument. So all right, so we've covered most of the first bar of the tune, Kale and Knocket Corn, already just with the arpeggio exercises. So the tune itself actually starts with a G note, quarter note, and then we're going to be rocking back and forth between that B, G, D, G, B, G. So let's put that together. Let's do that a few more times. So how's that going? All arpeggio notes so far. We haven't strayed from it. Our next measure is G, but it's every G. So we have quarter notes. So the middle, the low. So you just have to make the jump. You're going from the lowest to the highest. Good luck. So that is a very characteristically Shetland thing to do, is to touch that low string, get it ringing along with the tune, and just take advantage of the fact. This is one thing that's very unique to this Shetland version of the tune. I can assure you that any other version of Bob Fettercairn from mainland Scotland, not going to have that big jump. That's a Shetland thing. So let's do that again. I'm hoping you're ready to go on. I told you this tune had this double tonic characteristic. So our next 2 bars, we're moving into the key of A. Let's review our key of A. C sharp. And that's actually about all we need to do. And I see that I need to tune again. Alas, I'm sorry for the interruptions. So I've gone flat again. Okay, we'll see how long that lasts. So we're now on bar 3, and we're going to do something rather similar to what we did with bar 1, where you remember bar 1 had G. Well, on bar 3, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, only now in the key of A. So every note gets moved up one spot. So A, C sharp, and E. But there's two things I'm going to add. The first thing I'm going to add is instead of a quarter note, play a burl. So that's a triplet, just a bowed decoration. That quarter note gets converted into this triplet. And again. All right. One thing to add, which is a connection between the first 2 bars and this one, which is pickup notes. We had so just an F sharp and a G, taking us into so let's just do the high G, the 2 pickup notes, and then this bar in the key of A. Let's do that again. Half a bar. All right, and add the next bar, bar 4. We're in the key of A. We're staying in basically our A space here. Just had the burl, or arpeggio notes. And then we have a scale passage, down and up, but the G is natural here. So that 4th bar. Let's play a few times. With the 3rd bar, and again. Let's put the first 4 bars together. You remember how it started with that parallel passage in the key of G with the arpeggios, quarter note and then arpeggios. Every octave. Pickup notes. A. Scale. Let's do it again. How's that going? I'm hoping that's pretty well. And in any case, you get a little bit of a review in the next part because we've done 4 bars of the A part. The next 4 bars are almost the same at the beginning. So we go back into the land of G. We start with our, but there's one little twist. One little twist is that instead of a quarter note to start, you're going to play a snap. So not a quarter note, but 2 notes. The slur is no longer necessary if you're using a bow. Okay, so that is bar 5, and it's followed by the same octave jumps and the same pickup notes. But we have a new ending to wrap up the 8-bar phrase. Here's the new ending. Again, we're in the land of A. So we had an A note. We just had pickup notes of, so it leads right up to A. Those are the first 4 notes of the bar, first 4 eighth notes. It's kind of a stair-steppy down, but it's like the steps are uneven. So we have a gap between the E and A and E note, and then a smaller gap, F sharp to G, F sharp to D. That's the first 4 notes of that bar. Here's what the rest of the bar is like. We just had the gapped jumps. Sort of starts like it's going to be a scale, but it converts into an arpeggio. Find those notes. So. Again. And the last bar of the phrase. Again with the octave jump, very Shetland in its style. So that last bar. Last 2 bars. The jumps. Part scale, part arpeggio. Octave. Again. We have all 8 bars of the A part. Let's put the whole thing together. Let's just do a little reminder of the roadmap here. We have 2 bars in the key of G, G arpeggio notes, G octaves. Then we have 2 bars in the key of A where we have a sequence where it just mimics the pattern of the G bar, up 1 note with a burl in place of the quarter note. Then a scale passage up to high G. Pickup notes take us back to the original G bar, with a snap all the way to the octaves, and then this ending that we just practiced. Let's try putting the whole thing together. How's it going? I'm going to pause and tune again because I'm going flat one more time, just as predicted. It's being troublesome. All right, so we had part A, the A part of this tune that sounded like this, just a little bring it back to your ear. I just want to point out that little that snap feature that's actually done fairly often in a lot of Shetland fiddle tunes. I remember being at a workshop that Ellie Bain gave once many years ago. He taught a tune called The Cross Reel. That's in Fiddle Club by I think book 10 or 11. And he used a lot of those snap features in the course of a reel. Now, typically, this is not a reel played super fast. So there's time to appreciate things like that little snap rhythm in the course of a reel. All right, we're in the B part. I told you arpeggios were a big part, and at the very beginning of this tune, we practiced this high arpeggio feature. Find these notes, a D, high G, a B, and a high G. Okay, so if you do that until you have 8 notes, you've got the first bar of the B part. Here it is. And that's the bar. Let's go on to bar 2 of the B part. The first bit of it is just arpeggio notes again. D, B, D, G. But then it lands somewhere where you might not be expecting, F sharp. So here's the B part so far. Okay. We'll get this thing in tune one of these days. All right, so that is the beginning of the B part. We transition with pickup notes. We were just landed on an F sharp, a somewhat surprising F sharp. We go down the scale. E, D, that's the pickup note to the land of A. So we're now going to do the same kind of arpeggio feature that we did in the key of G. We've moved it all up, one note to the key of A. Oh, but it's not quite the same, because instead of going low, high, we're going high, low, and the low note is C sharp. So if you're playing fiddle, you can just park that C sharp note right on the string and not move it as you arch nicely and play an open E and then add the high A note. So depending what instrument you're having, that may or may not be an efficient process that you want to employ. All right, it's much better than and then placing. There's a little delay there. If I could just park that C sharp. All right, so this third bar of the B part is connected to a fourth bar, which is exactly the same as the fourth bar of the A part. Let me put that in. And pick up notes. All right, so here's the B part so far. We're putting together 4 bars, 2 bars in the key of G, lots of G arpeggio notes, then 2 bars in the key of A with the A arpeggio notes. Let's do it again. right, we're almost there. In fact, to finish off, we don't really have to introduce very much that's new. Our next next two bars are the same almost as the first two bars of the B part. So it's with the arpeggio again. Except the pickups. Because the pickups are going to take us into the two-bar ending, the end of the A part, with one twist to it. So listen to the ending with the pickups for the ending. The stair steps, almost a scale, arpeggio. We ended the A part. This is a little different. That's the twist. It's a snap on the A. Bringing us back to G. Let's try that a few times. Let's link it to the bar before it with the pickup notes. Again. Let's try putting the entire B part together. First, I will tune again. Because guess what? Still drifting flat. All right, here's the entire B part of Kale and Knocket Corn. Arpeggios. In the key of A. Stair steps. Snap. Climbing up. How about the whole tune? Now this tune, as presented in the source I got it from, which is Tom Anderson's book, Hand Me Doon to Fiddle. It's a great little booklet of Shetland, mostly traditional fiddle tunes. And there's a little narrative that Tom Anderson himself dictated with each tune, and it's written out in Tom's own Shetland dialect, so you can get a real sense of not just but the way they'd be presented. There's audio recordings of Tom Anderson introducing each of these tunes as well, and so that's kind of cool if you get your hands on that. But he talks about kale and knocket corn, where he says this tune's real name. He refers to the tune as him. His real name is Bob of Fettercairn, well known in Scotland, but you would not know it from the way they play it in Shetland. It's different. I'd say it's pretty recognizable as Bob of Fettercairn, but the differences are really just very significant in that they make this very much a Shetland tune. The things with the octave jumps and the snapped figures in the reel especially. So the whole tune starts on G, G arpeggio, octaves, then A arpeggio, and carry on from there. We'll repeat each section. Okay, towards the end, I started putting in a few of the Shetland 3 and a bow things. You know. You don't have to put in a lot of them because there's so many string crossings, but if you feel like it, I can add to it. The main thing that I'm noticing about this tune that's really significant and very Shetland feeling is when you get that string still ringing, still ringing, still ringing. So you touch it and it rings along for many measures, in fact, until you touch it again. So it accompanies itself by having a ring-along string, and that's a very Shetland kind of thing. All right. Well, that is Kale and Knocket Corn. I hope you liked that tune. And how would you like to do another tune by ear? Say yes. We never do just one tune by ear, do we? Well, maybe we've done it a few times. So I was thinking that we might do a strathspey. How's that sound? You like that idea? This one is a short strathspey. In fact, it's a shorter than usual strathspey because of its form. It's based on a song tune. And this is one of those song tunes that's associated with Robert Burns. And it's called Kale in Aberdeen. So we already had Kale and Knocket Corn. Now we have Called Kale. So I think you get the idea that cabbage and kale and that sort of thing. Yep, big part of Scottish cuisine. So Called Kale in Aberdeen is an old tune. It was one of the ones that was collected by Robert Burns and put in that 600 tune collection called the Scottish Musical Museum. And, you know, the museum, it comes from the Greek muses, right? And they don't mean a building where you go look at things in glass cases. They really just mean a collection of things pertaining to the arts and sciences, and in this case, the musical arts, right? So the musical museum is just a collection of music. And Robert Burns went around the countryside. Anytime he found somebody who knew something about the local songs or just had something interesting to sing, he would listen, he would note it down, he'd take note of the words, he'd remember the tune. Remember, Robert Burns played the fiddle. Now, his friends were much more likely to say, Rob, give us a song, rather than Rob, play us a tune on your fiddle, because they knew he was way better at writing the lyrics for the songs than he was at actually playing the fiddle. But he was okay at playing the fiddle, and he definitely had a really good memory for tunes. He would often make up his poems by running tunes in his head and thinking of words that would go with the tunes. That was one of his major working methods. And in this case, this is one that had old words, and one of Robert Burns' musical patrons, the Duke of Gordon. And by the way, the Duke of Gordon was also William Marshall's musical patron. The Duke of Gordon adapted the words and kind of rewrote them. The original words, basically, you can look these up, but they are basically, I don't care so much about the lasses, but give me something to drink. The Duke of Gordon's words are, in essence, I don't care so much about the drinking, but give me the lass. So he just kind of twisted it around and praised the women rather than the wine. I have to say that that's a little more acceptable to me. But Cold Kale in Aberdeen is now associated with words by the Duke of Gordon and with Robert Burns as the collector and the person who brought this tune to notice. So here is Cold Kale in Aberdeen. So you may notice me varying the rhythm a little bit, and that's because this is a song tune. So anytime you have a new verse, you have new words, and you may have a different rhythm on account of different words for that verse. It's in the key of D. All right, so it's in the key of D, and the pickup note is D. So we start on D, we end on D, the pickup note D, a snap, or no, I guess it's not a snap going up, but you know, it depends on which verse you're doing. So it's a scale that goes up by gaps and down by gaps. Try it again. So that's our pickup note and first measure. Second measure, same figure, not quite carried through as far. Try that. I'm going to add one more note to it because it leads to the next thing. Third measure, just like the first, except maybe the rhythm might be adjusted to go with the words. Phrase starts the same way, and then it has a little quick figure of 16th notes. So it's climbing up the scale and returning to the first note of B. Now, for those of you playing fiddles and using a bow, I have a favorite way of bowing this figure. I use this all the time. It's my go-to method. Sometimes I will bow it differently, but this is what I do almost all the time. Slur 2, separate 2. This allows me to control the leaning of it. So I might drag out the first note a little bit. So putting it into context. So this tune, we've done the entire A part. It's 4 bars long. It does not repeat. This tune, its entirety is 8 bars. And that is a verse and a chorus of the song, by the way. And you would not repeat the A part and repeat the B part. It just does not make sense in the context of the song. So the A part is 4 bars, almost identical. It's the same basic contour, but it has a little twist each time to differentiate it. You see how they're kind of parallel to each other and very similar? So if you were to repeat that, you'd have essentially 8 identical bars with tiny differences between them. Now that happens often enough in American old-time music, which is cool in its own way, but that's not a very typical Scottish thing. And I think you can see now why there's no reason to do a repeat. It kind of doesn't make sense because you just have too much repetition. And while it's cool to have some repetition, I think it would not sound right to repeat that 4-bar phrase. So here's the 4-bar phrase. We're going to repeat it a few times just for practice, not because the tune gets played with repeats. All right, I'm going to give you the next part. So the next part moves up higher. And because this is a song, the range is not extreme. The pickup note is A, and we head right for a higher D note. That's the beginning. We have a gapped scale, so it's an E, skip one, and right down the scale. So here's the second bar put together. Sorry, that is the first bar of the B. I misspoke. The second bar of the B is very similar. So is the third. All right. So here is the first bar of the B part. Again. bar, same start. Now, in Scott's Musical Museum, there are 2 A notes there at the end of the bar with an arpeggiated figure leading to them. But for a lot of the verses of the song, because the verses are in the B part, a lot of the verses, the words match up with quarter notes instead. So I often play this second bar very simply with 2 quarter notes at the end. So it says in Scott's Musical Museum, but if you want to, totally fine with me, because that suits the words a number of times. So first and second bars of the B part. Third bar. This is the one thing that's different. Find that arpeggio of a G natural, E, and C sharp. So here's the third bar. And that G was the highest note in the whole song, so you know we're coming to the end of the phrase. And a quick pickup note of 2 notes. That's a D and a B. And the ending. Okay, so I'm not sure if this thing was making, yeah, so that's my daughter wishing me happy Mother's Day. Isn't that nice? So Cold Kale in Aberdeen B part, I'd like to put the 4 bars of it together. Again. All right, let's do the whole tune. So do you remember the first part of the tune? There's, I can't sing very well today. I'm a little scratchy because of pollen. And there's cold kale in Aberdeen and kale stalks in Strasbourg. Boy, my voice is really today. Plus that's too high for me to sing the high octave and too low for me to sing the low octave. So I'm kind of stuck. This is not my key. called kale in Aberdeen. And I need to tune again. All right. I'm inclined to give you another one by ear. Are people still up for one more by ear? Let me know. I'm going to pause a moment just so that you can write into the chat if you're up for another one by ear. I hope you say yes. All right. Yes. One more yes. Okay, I think we have a quorum for another one by ear. So let's go for it. All right. Well, I'm going to give you your choice. Would you like to learn the reel of the black puddings or silks and tatties? Which sounds good? And it could depend on whether, you know, what your taste in food is, since these are all food tunes, right? So, the reel of the black puddings, Ruile na Maracandu. Black pudding is specifically Scottish. I guess it's also known in other parts of the UK, Ireland, but it's kind of a unique cuisine. Scotland's a little bit famous for it. So it's made of various parts of the animal, plus a lot of grain made into a kind of a sausage that's then fried up typically. Silks and tatties, the other tune. Tatties are, of course, potatoes, and silks is the Shetland name for a fish that goes by many names. I actually have a picture of the fish. So let me show you a picture of the fish. Oh, I closed out that window. Let's find it again. Why, here we go. Here are some pictures of the pollock fish, which is silk. The silk in Shetland is this fish. On this side of the Atlantic, we generally call it pollock. In Shetland, they call it silk or coalfish or a couple other names. So, all right. Nobody has said anything about which tune they want to learn, and maybe it's because I didn't play them for you. But you want to just go for the Shetland one? Okay. All right. So silks and tatties. So this is fish and potatoes. This is a classic combination. You know, in Cape Breton, they have fish cakes made with potatoes and usually cod, but it could be pollock just as easily. And in Shetland, obviously, they make their dish with the pollock and the potatoes. So silks and tatties sounds like this. noticed a bunch of snaps in that one. I talked about that. I think that that is, it's a particular Shetland style. In this case, I didn't get this one out of a book at all. I transcribed Willie Hunter Sr. playing it. Probably the more famous Willie Hunter is Willie Hunter Jr. He's more recorded. He was a very accomplished musician, but his father was also a musician. And when we did our Ronnie Cooper workshop in November, in this book, we had some references to both Willie Hunter Jr. and Sr., who were friends of Ronnie Cooper. So this is Willie Hunter Sr.'s version of this traditional Shetland tune. It's in the key of D. The pickup notes, F sharp and D. And I transcribed Willie Hunter's way of snapping. Of course, if you listen to him play it more than once, he snaps it a little differently the other time. So I just picked the ones that I thought sounded particularly expressive and pretty much matched him up with one round of Willie Hunter's way, just so that you could get a sense of styling. Okay, so our pickup notes, F sharp and D. And then we go right into a little snap figure on A. Find that. And then so at the beginning we have this pickups and first bar. And that Willie Hunter repeats that snap on the A figure over and over again through this first section, but the rejoinder, the final 5 notes of the bar, are different each time. So the first bar, the second bar. So let's learn that second half of the bar, the 5 notes. High G pickup. Third bar is similar to the first, but not identical. Because that high G leads into the ending. Excuse me. All right, so the third bar. And the ending. All right. So here's putting together the first part. few of the Shetland bowings of the 3 in a bow. So that works, but I'll just let you know that in the recording of Willie Hunter that I transcribed, I don't believe he did that. I did not hear that in his bowing on the recording. It was an audio recording, so I obviously couldn't watch him, but that's what I heard. All right, let's move on to the B part. The B part is up high. High G is your pickup note. And it starts out with a snap. So. Next bit. So with the pickup note. Second bar also starts with a snap and then rocking back and forth to the D note. Again. All right, bar 3, exactly the same as bar 1 of the B part. Again. Bar 4, same as bar 4 in the A part. So let's do 4 bars of the B part. Here's what we have. All right, the B part continues on. It starts the same way with a G pickup note. And here's our fancy ending. This is the one thing that's different. Little stair-step scale down from G, skipping notes. So G, E, F sharp, D. And the same ending. So here's the whole B part put together. Again. The entire tune. Do you remember how it started? I'll remind you. So it has those A snaps, right? So that's the theme of the A part. Meanwhile, the theme of the B part is this rocking back and forth to the D note. Okay, so A part played twice, 4 bars played twice. B part, 8 bars. It almost sounds like a repeat, but it has a fancy ending on the second to last bar. Super fast with that, and that's just because the way Willie Hunter played it, it's not super fast. I suppose it could go just a little faster than that, but you know, it's not one of the ones where playing it faster is the point, and you know, the point is to get those cool little snap figures in and make this reel have some style to it. So silks and tatties, essentially fish cakes. And I hope you enjoyed that. I think we'll move along to tunes read from the sheet music. So if you have not had a chance, you can go to the Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club webpage, potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org, where you'll find links to download this music. Eventually the links will be moved off the main page into the members area, so anyone who's a member of the Fiddle Club can find this music at any time. I encourage everybody who is a member to go into the members area and download all of the music. It will all be posted there if it's not already. I think Pete may have put everything up. And in addition, shortly I'll have the entire book in its entirety of book 28, this year's music, available to be downloaded that way. If you download it that way, then we don't have to mail it to you, and the club can save on some postage costs. So please let us know that you have your music, or you can send us an email that you need this music, that you couldn't download it, or you had trouble downloading it, or whatever. And that way we know what to do. Either send it or not send it. info@potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org is a regular way to reach us. There's always one of us available to answer questions at that email address. All right, so let's look at the pages. There are 3 pages of music today. They are pages 34, 35, and 36. And the first tune on the first page there is Sillux and Caddies. So we already learned that. Let's move right on to the next one, Cheap Meal. So cheap meal, of course, could be the entire meal, right? Every food. But I think they're actually talking about like flour, that kind of meal. Because the subtitle or second name for it is Good Harvest, as in good harvest of grain. So here is the tune. It comes from the Gao repository, which has a whole lot of nice dancing tunes. It's the very last tune on the very last page of the very last repository of Neil Gao. Oh, dang it. This thing has gone flat again. Let's fix that. So let me... So those of you who are not tuned into my local weather or are watching this after the fact, I'll just have you know that today the temperatures are in the 50s here, and a few days ago they were in the 80s, and the violin is not happy with this kind of temperature change. And so even though really it's been sitting inside and should not have a reason to complain, it's complaining, and it's rebelling by springing out the strings and making trouble. Violins sometimes do that, and we just put up with it and tune them. So here's Cheap Meal from the Gao repository. All right, let's play it together. We'll start it slowly. so much fun. I love that tune. I almost taught that one by ear, but there are so many tasty tunes to do today that I couldn't pick. It was hard to choose which ones to teach by ear, which ones to do after. Well, the next tune on the page is a strathspey called Sausage. William C. Honeyman, he's the author of William Honeyman's Real Strathspey and Hornpipe Tutor. We focused on this book of Honeyman's a number of years ago. I'm going to guess it was around book 11 or 13 or something like that. Honeyman goes into great detail about bowings for hornpipes, especially. This great collection for hornpipes. He goes into bowings for 3 different styles of hornpipe playing. And he also puts in bowings for strathspeys, and Honeyman favors the Northeast style. So if you're interested in Northeast style bowings, it's a great book to go through and figure out how the bowing works with the style. Honeyman didn't apparently compose all that many tunes himself. This collection that he has, the Hornpipe Tutor, Real Strathspey Hornpipe Tutor, is mostly traditional music with a few compositions by other people. But he put in a few of his own. And among those very few are a strathspey and a reel, both named Sausage. All I can conclude from this was perhaps Sausage held a central place in William Honeyman's heart. Either that or he was composed, commissioned by a butcher shop or perhaps a banquet giver to write a strathspey and reel to commemorate some special food occasion. I can only speculate. But here is Sausage the Strathspey. I will play Sausage the reel directly afterwards because he obviously meant them to be played together. Music composed for Sausage. Let's play the strathspey, and we'll take it a little slow, and then after that we'll do the reel. So strathspey first. All right. It sounds like William Honeyman took sausage pretty seriously. Either that or he took it completely not seriously. I can't quite make up my mind. All right, here's the real sausage. Let's start slow. Before we play it some more, I want to note a couple of things. Whereas sausage, the Strathspey, has two flats, E flat and B flat. In sausage, the real, E is always natural. There aren't any E flats in sausage, the real. It's always natural. So just B flat. And I've noted that in the key signature. So even though they're a pair of tunes, they actually are in different modes. And the other thing I like to note is that there's some interesting chord work in especially the B part of sausage, the real, which keeps it from being just the same as every other G minor real in its chord pattern. So I think pretty cool. Let's play sausage, the real. I'll gradually work the speed up. Sausage, the real. All right. The other tune on page 35 is Kale and Connaught Corn, which you already know. So we're going to move right along. And on page 36, you already know, Called Kale in Aberdeen. So I'm going to move along to the next tune, Reested Mutton. Now, mutton probably makes sense to you because that is, lamb, right? From an older sheep is called mutton. And I'm going to show you what this reested mutton looks like. This is reested mutton soup. And essentially what they do with this mutton is this is a Shetland specialty. Again, Shetland, I guess home, this would be homemade in the old days and in a butcher shop these days. They take the mutton, like a leg of mutton, and it gets brined. And so it's salted and seasoned, and then it's dried and smoked. So it's almost like a sheep version of ham. And then it's combined with other ingredients to make the roasted mutton soup. So, right, here's the soup. Here's the recipe. And it's pretty quick, so I'll just read it to you. You get the roasted mutton, you get floury potatoes, turnips or neeps, carrots, onion, water or lamb stock, and butter. Right. And then you, here's what you do. You saute the carrots and the onions. You add the broth, you add the seasonings, and then you add chopped up pieces of roasted mutton. The mutton, being fairly salty in this preparation, is first soaked, and then you're supposed to discard most of the soaking water because it's very briny, but you retain just a little bit so you have just the right amount of brine flavoring in the soup. And that is the roasted mutton soup. Now, this roasted mutton soup is associated with a particular occasion in Shetland. We've talked about this in some previous workshop. It's the occasion called Uphelia. This is a big event in late January in Shetland. So at the very dark time of the year, they do something fun. Now, it originated because young men in Shetland got into the habit of getting really drunk and running through the streets carrying burning barrels of tar. And generally raising hell on this Uphelia night. And instead of having them go crazy and having, the town full of a bunch of young guys who were drunk waving around burning things, they recast this event in the late 1800s as Uphelia, where they dress up in disguises. We've heard of the Geysers March in Shetland. The Geysers are people in disguise participating in this event. Teams of people, squads, will come up with a skit, a song, a dance, and they will first go through the streets in disguise, carrying torches. Then they will all the processions will converge, and this is a little small, but right. So here's some pictures of some people in disguise, and there's part of the procession. You can see there's this whole Viking ship thing going on, and then eventually the procession forms, and you get processions of people with torches in the dark. And then last of all, they have a sort of an effigy galley, a Viking longship that they set fire to. They toss the torches into this pre-set up Viking ship thing, and then it gets a good blaze and it starts looking like this. So instead of, the threat of burning the whole town with burning barrels of tar carried around by drunk guys, they have an organized procession where they very dramatically burn the Viking ship that's specifically made for that purpose. And that's Uphelia. Then they go around, all the different squads go around to different halls in the town where it has been set up to have refreshments and performances. So each squad visits the halls in succession and does their little skit or song or dance or whatever it is that their entertainment is, and they receive it for refreshments, and the traditional refreshment is the roasted mutton soup. So Gideon Stove, we have had some tunes by him before. They're scattered very occasionally throughout the Shetland music, and this Shetland music is of Gideon Stove particularly is scattered throughout the various books of Fiddle Club. So here's the roasted mutton reel written by Gideon Stove. So that is Rested Mutton. I'm sure I played a few of those notes wrong. You may notice that it deliberately ends after the A part. So that's the meaning of the DC al fine. Go back and play from the beginning until you get to the end of the A part, and that is where the tune finishes. Either that, or you could just segue into another tune in the key of D, and it would work pretty nicely. So that is one of the things I might suggest doing. And so let's all play Rested Mutton, but let's do it slowly. So that's Rested Mutton. And the name Rested, while it sounds like roasted, it's not. It really comes from the Scandinavian root word for smoked. So it has to do with the fact that it's prepared like ham in a smokehouse. And it's the same root, by the way, that's, the same Ristit is the same as Reykjavik in Iceland, which is like this smoky city. I've never figured out whether that was because of chimneys or because of volcanoes, but that's the same root word of Norse Icelandic that is the root of Ristit, mutton. All right, our last tune is Ruile na Marakendu, the reel of the black puddings. And what to say about this? We have had black pudding tunes before in Fiddle Club. Did you know that? We have a tune called Munlachi Bridge. It's a great strathspey. Anyway, I first learned that tune unintentionally by ear. My husband and I were honeymooning in Scotland, and we decided we'd stop over at Salmore Ostic, which is the Gaelic music school on the Isle of Skye, and they had guest accommodation, so we were staying there. And we had the windows open in our guest room, and I could hear a music class of flutes being taught this tune. So I didn't know what it was. I learned the tune because there I am sitting hearing it repeated over and over and over again. And but I didn't have any idea what the name was because I wasn't actually in that class. I was just across the courtyard. And so I figured that Margaret Bennett would know. So the next time I saw Margaret Bennett, I sort of said, "Do you know a tune that goes blah, 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 da, 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 da?" And she's like, "Yes." And she's, of course, a Gaelic singer and expert folklorist. So she started singing, and that the words of that mean the dogs ate the puddings. The dog ate Rory's black puddings. So we've had pudding tunes before. All right. So here is how the reel of the black puddings, Rile na Marakendu, goes. Something like that. Right. Let's go ahead and learn it. Let's play it slowly and then build up the speed. let's play some of our learned by ear tunes. We had Cold Kale in Aberdeen. Silks and Teddies. Kale and Kanakit corn. All right, so that is our selection of tasty tunes, food-related tunes, for this month of May 2021. A few announcements. I am going to be doing a number of events, both virtual, online, and in-person outdoors. So if you live in the area, which is around Washington or Baltimore, I'm going to be doing a concert with Ken Kolodner on May 16th. That one is outdoors and in person with plenty of room to spread out and bring a chair or a picnic blanket and enjoy the music. About 2 weeks later, on Saturday, May 29th, I'll be doing an album release outdoor concert with my band Sugar Beat. That's Mark Glickman, Susan Brandt on flute, and we will be once again outdoors and spread out. And on June 12th, which is also a Saturday, I'll be doing a concert with my band Terpsichore, Liz Donaldson and Ralph Gordon, and I in Columbia, Maryland. All of these outdoor concerts require that you sign up in advance and make essentially a reservation so that we can have a guest list and make sure that we do not exceed the capacity of the space. The online events, on the other hand, are pretty unlimited. So if you live somewhere else not near where I am, you can still hear me perform. I'm going to be doing, my next one of those is May 22nd. The event is in New York. I will be in Maryland streaming to New York and anywhere else. It's the Pauling Scottish Weekend with a concert program, particularly being performed at 4 p.m. on Saturday, May 22nd. So if you need these details, I will send them to Pete so that he can put them on the webpage under information of upcoming events. And if you want more details, just get in touch with me. info@PotomacValleyScottishFiddle.org is a good way to get started, or my own email if you know that, which I will not give in the YouTube video. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. Fiddle Club goes into a hiatus over the summer doing monthly workshops. However, we do have things that will be going on. I have started up a YouTube channel. EB Fiddler is the name of the YouTube channel. And I'll also provide Pete with a link to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing an occasional series of tune workshop videos, a single tune at a time. I tried to do that last month, and my video ended up being too big for me to post correctly, so I'm going to have to redo it. So I know I made a big deal about that in last month's Fiddle Club workshop, but I will have to redo the Scarlet Clog video. And over the summer, I'll post more videos, and I'll post ones at different levels of skill. So there will be easier tunes, intermediate tunes, more advanced tunes, and I'm going to be starting a subscription series, Learning Tunes by YouTube, for anybody, anywhere, and at any time. Let's see, other things that I have heard of. I've heard that Alistair Fraser and Natalie McMaster are doing an online concert. I've forgotten the details, exactly what they are. So, so look that up. He has a website, and I'm sure you can find out that one is a live stream, and it's online, so you do not have to be anywhere near anywhere in particular. You just have to want to go at the right time. I'm trying to think of other events that are going on, but I don't have any on my mind. The Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club usually performs at the end of the summer, Labor Day weekend, at the Virginia Scottish Games. At this point, we are standing by to know if that event is going to go forward or not. We do not know at this point. So the latest information is stand by. If the Virginia Games does not hold a festival this year, and that's the usual place the Fiddle Club puts together a performance, we may find a way to do a Fiddle Club performance or play along just for fun for our own sake. So stay tuned for news of that over the summer as well. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this workshop, and if it's made you hungry, well, I guess we have a dinner break, and we have a real special thing tonight because Liz Donaldson is going to join me for the jam session, and so we'll have accompanied jam tonight with fiddle and piano for you to play along with, and that should be a lot of fun. That's at 6:30. So see the Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club page, main page. There will be a link to get to the Zoom jam or the YouTube version of that. It's going to be both ways. And if you're a Fiddle Club member, you should have received an email with the Zoom link in it. All right, it's been a pleasure. See you next time. Take care. And I'll sign out for now and see you at the jam.